Baseball has an umpire problem.
He just got tossed. Somebody got tossed. I mean, that's not even close.
Here's Bo Bichette, and that is a very low pitch called for a strike.
Alrighty.
Never has Major League Baseball had this much negative attention on the missed calls from their umpires. Now, umpires have never been the most popular profession in baseball, but there are a lot of reasons for this recent ill will. Social media is a huge component to this general sentiment. Any regular guy now has the ability to clip these bad calls and create montages like the one you saw at the beginning of this very video. I mean, Jesus Christ, there are so many videos on YouTube crucifying Angel Hernandez that he straight up quit. But I think the biggest reason for all of this hatred towards umpires is the result of this translucent rectangle. With most regional broadcasts using this technology, the Strikezone Box gives the most casual fan immediate confirmation on the judgment call of this old masked man behind the plate. In this modern age of baseball and advanced analytics, you can see the exit velocity, launch angle, and even catch percentage on a fly ball. Which is why it's infuriating when you see the exact spot a pitch missed the plate, and then later on Twitter exactly how much it missed the plate by, to a fraction of an inch. This piece of technology is a double-edged sword. On the one side, it is a genuinely useful feature that enhances the TV viewing experience. There have been a lot of professional sports technology enhancements that ended up being more gimmicky than anything else. The Strikezone Box is subtle enough to not be overly distracting and has become a pivotal mainstay in TV broadcasts. It's less like the NHL's glowing puck and more like the NFL's first down line. But the NFL is very clear to state that the yellow line is not official, something the MLB doesn't constantly clarify, if at all. But on the backside of this sword, this technology is constantly undermining the calls of Major League umpires. There is nothing more aggravating than seeing an incorrect call, but now the TV broadcast confirms that missed call in real time. Before this technology, if a call was close, there was a reasonable level of doubt. Maybe the broadcast angle was the reason it looked outside, and maybe it did catch the edge of the plate. My point is, there was grace given to the umpire because at the end of the day, it's their call. But now with the visible strike zone and the ball marker for when it crosses the plate, there is no grace given to a bad call. In no other sport is the TV broadcast calling out officiating on every missed call. Could you imagine if they did this in the NBA? After every close call or no call, a little ticker on the bottom of the screen would pop up and tell the viewer if the play was called correctly. People would riot, cities would burn, and the game would become unwatchable, which is kind of a testament to Major League Baseball. But over time, the visible strike zone will push fans away from the game. In fact, it already has, according to this Reddit thread I found researching for this video. I truly believe that we will see an automated strike zone sooner than most people think. But Commissioner Rob Manfred has already come out and said the use of this technology, commonly referred to as Robot Umps, being used to call balls and strikes is not likely to be implemented for the 2025 season. MLB has been testing Robot Umps in the minor leagues to overall positive reviews. Who knew taking out the human error element would make people happier with the game of baseball? Literally everybody. Having a concrete strike zone seems like the biggest no-brainer for Major League Baseball. And these incorrect calls matter. Incorrectly calling the first pitch of an at-bat drastically changes the at-bat, and collectively, the game. MLB averages with a 1-0 count is 278, and with an 0-1 count is 221. That is over a 50-point difference in average from an incorrect call on the first pitch of an at-bat. And it's nearly a 100-point difference in average if that incorrect call happens with a 1-1 count. Robot Umps would remove all of these arguments from this part of the game. No longer will you have players slowly losing their shit until they eventually snap, managers coming out to defend their players, and no longer will you have umpires making the game about themselves. Probably not though. But this leads to some problems with implementing Robot Umps. I would probably consider myself a traditionalist when it comes to baseball. I don't want to see the game of baseball change too much or too drastically to the point where it wouldn't seem like baseball anymore. I love the many quirks of baseball. I like how each stadium is different and no outfield wall has the same dimensions. And I wasn't the biggest fan of the universal DH. I missed the strategy NL managers would have to use and how it would affect different games of the World Series, depending on the home team. But I can also understand why they made the DH universal. More scoring and less meaningless at-bats from pitchers. It also ended up being not as big a change as most people thought it would be. It didn't fundamentally change the game too much. And I don't think getting more calls correct will fundamentally change the game for the worse. But as far as the technological advancements go, there are still a few problems. Firstly, for this to work, the technology needs to work. Every single time. Human umpires get the benefit of the doubt because ultimately, they're human. They might get endless amounts of shit for it, but humans make mistakes. If the robot umps fail, it is an incredibly bad look for Major League Baseball. Can you imagine a pitch being thrown and the TrackMan system does not register it? Baseball Twitter would melt down. So here we are, bottom of the ninth, bases loaded and a full count. It all comes down to this. Here's the pitch, and it's taken off the edge of the plate. So the call now goes to the new robot umpire. And this is unusual. Oh boy, looks like we're gonna have to go old school for this monumental call.
What the fuck are you looking at me for?
I mean, yeah, the technology is close, but is it 100% there yet? In Baseball Doesn't Exist's video, link in the description below, he made a pretty solid point. As it is now, the technology isn't even consistent between the different broadcasts of the same game and the same pitch. You wouldn't want the rumors of favoritism. This is Major League Baseball, not the NBA. But I think the biggest hurdle to robot umps is one nobody really thinks of, and that's Major League Baseball's umpire union. Major League Baseball has a pretty dark past in regards to its labor practices. For example, did you know that before the MLB Players Association, if a player signed with a club, the club would own their rights forever?
That just sounds like slavery with extra steps.
Yes, it is, and it's most likely the reason we will never see a salary cap in MLB. The YouTube channel Baseball's Not Dead has a great video on the entire history of Major League contracts. It's nearly 2 hours long, but it's absolutely fascinating if you're into that stuff. Link also in the description below. So with MLB's horrendous history with their labor unions, there is a potential issue developing down the road. I mean, no union ever has willingly accepted to be paid less while still being a vital part of an organization. We will still need umpires to call whether a runner is safe or out or a batted ball is fair or foul. There might come a time where this aspect of the game can be completely done by technology, but I think that is further down the road than just calling balls and strikes. I don't think the transition from humans to robots is going to go as smoothly as people think just by changing one rule. This whole thing could get very messy, like replacement ref messy. Ultimately, there will come a time when robot umps take over, and hopefully it's sooner rather than later. Because it is in baseball's best interest to stop pushing away fans because they are constantly highlighting the mistakes of their umpires. Over 100 times a night across an entire slate of MLB games. Robot umps will be less of a dramatic shift than most people think it will be. But there are a lot of tech and labor issues they need to hammer out first. Again, one bad call can change the outlook of an at-bat, and the more at-bats that are changed, the more the outcomes of games are affected. It's a domino effect of infuriating calls. Major League Baseball has made a lot of positive changes in recent years, in the hopes of getting calls right and keeping the game moving. This just seems like the next logical step. Hey, you made it to the end of the video. Proud of you. Let me know all of your thoughts about robot umps eventually coming to Major League Baseball down in the comments. When do you realistically think they'll be implemented? And are there any other rules that you'd like to see baseball change? Let me hear it. Definitely check out the 2 videos I have linked in the description, but first subscribe to this channel where you can see videos like this. And oh shit, I forgot about this one. Thanks, and...
Playa!